Expanding on the foundation established in Chapter 1, our investigation into the domain of double attacks progresses, taking on the distinctive form known as the discovered attack. In this tactic, the attacker uses two pieces. This chapter unfolds by exploring 12 patterns woven around this tactical weapon. We start this chapter by Pattern 8. Involves the bishop and pawn battery, laying the groundwork for a discovered attack. In this pattern, we focus on two fianchettoed bishops, one for white and one for black, positioned on the same diagonal with a pawn between them. To execute a discovered attack, you need a battery. In this case, the battery consists of the e4 pawn, the front piece, and the g2 bishop, the back piece. Additionally, two targets for the attack are needed. We see that as soon as the pawn moves, the back piece attacks the b7 bishop and the front piece attacks the f6 knight. Let's see how it plays out. After e5, the front piece attacks the knight on f6 while the back piece attacks the bishop on b7. If d takes e5, we have bishop takes on b7 and white gains the bishop. And if bishop takes on g2, we takes on f6 and two black bishops are hanging. Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, Sao Paulo, Bilbao. Playoff Blitz 2012. Try to solve this puzzle. If d takes a5, black attacks the knight on d4, but black has more pieces and prize with bishop takes on b7 and e takes on d4, bishop takes on a8, then queen takes on a8 and rook takes on d4, and white has won an exchange. Knight on d5 saves two pieces in one move, but this is short-lived. The knight puts itself in a pin, and by attacking it with c4, white still wins a piece. If bishop takes on g2, we play e takes on f6. Now, the bishop must find an alternative route to safety. But there are no suitable squares. Bishop on d5 doesn't help, because we have c4. If bishop on b7, we have knight takes on e6, f takes on e6. Queen takes with check, bishop to e7, and af takes on g7. Black still has bishop in h3 protecting e6, but the move has other drawbacks. Because we have queen on h5, black loses material. After bishop to f5, knight takes on f5, e takes on f5, rook on e2 with check, knight to e5, then f4, and white wins a piece. In this position, g6 is clever, but refuted by the even cleverer knight on g7 with check, bishop takes on g7, and f takes on g7, and black has no time to capture the queen on h5 as the rook on h8 is hanging. In the game, black soon resigned after queen takes on f6, then queen takes on h3. Try to solve this puzzle. e5. In contrast to the previous game, here it would have been a good idea to place the knight between the bishops. After knight to d5, white enjoys a comfortable spatial advantage, but at least black doesn't lose material. But if bishop takes on g2, we have e takes on f6. The difference with the previous game is that white captures the knight with an attack on the e7 bishop. However, the knight on h3 is also hanging. Black must of course continue capturing with the bishop. After a capture on f6, bishop takes on f6, king takes on g2 follows, and white is a piece up. But if bishop takes on h3, we have f takes on e7, queen takes on a7. Black appears to be left with an extra pawn following all the exchanges, but white has calculated one move deeper. This is a good moment to pause and reflect. Never stop calculating after the last capturing move, but do so only on the move that follows, if indeed there are no other compelling moves. Queen on h5. Just like in game between Carlsen and Caruana, the black bishop will be lost. In this case, because after bishop to f5, white can simply capture the bishop with the queen. The pinned pawn on e6 is a poor defender. Try to solve this puzzle. Helgi Asgretason, Alexandros Kotsinis, Agios Nikolaos 2019. In so-called hedgehog positions, fianchettoed bishops frequently face each other. White has more space thanks to the c4 pawn. Additionally, a defense with knight to d5 is no longer possible after the pawn push. e5. At the time of writing, 75 players had fallen for this tactic, including a few grandmasters. Bishop takes on g2. E takes on f6 immediately loses a piece. Two black bishops are hanging, and the bishop on g2 cannot continue capturing as it did in the previous game. The desperado motif comes to an end. D takes on e5 is followed by bishop takes on b7, rook to a7. Black has lost a piece, but white cannot rest on his laurels yet. Both the b7 bishop and the d4 knight are hanging. But we have the grand fork knight on c6, black takes on d1 only move, knight takes on e7 first, king on h8, rook takes on d1 followed by rook takes on b7. White is still a piece up, but it is not over yet as the knight on e7 is trapped. Try to solve this puzzle. b3. Rook takes on a7 is a mistake because we have bishop to a3. In this case, if white plays b3, black have the only move b5. However, bishop to a3 is not a good idea, as black will play b4, forking the knight and bishop. In this position we play c takes b5, a takes b5. Bishop to a3 is played by most and is also strong. Black wins the knight on e7, but it comes at a cost. b4, knight to a4, rook to e8, bishop to c5, knight to e4, a3, knight takes on c5, knight takes on c5, rook b takes on e7, and a takes on b4. And although the position is materially balanced, the passed b-pawns will be too powerful for black. Try to solve this puzzle. D takes a5, and the bishop is not the only piece in the path of the pawn. See where the pawn ends up 3 moves later. Bishop takes on b7, e takes d4, bishop takes on c8. It was preferable not to focus on material gain, although even after queen takes on d4, knight on c5, queen takes on d8, rook takes on d8, black has the better position. In this position, if bishop takes on c8, we have d takes on c3. Bishop takes on d7, c takes b2. In 4 moves, the pawn from d6 has reached b2. Rook on a3, knight takes on d7. Now it goes downhill quickly. White's only chance at some resistance was rook to d3, queen c8, rook takes on d7, b1 promote to queen. Queen takes on b1, queen takes on d7, queen takes on b6, queen takes on a4, although here too, white has a bad position and is a pawn down. In this position, white played f4, and the game continued with queen to c7, king h2, knight c5, ce3, e5, f5, rook to d8, queen to c2, e4, king g2, e3, rook d1. Rook takes on d1, queen takes on d1, queen f4, and white resigned. Here is a small bonus as a final example. The following game fragment does not necessarily fall within the constraints of the discussed pattern, but it has similarities and it is too beautiful not to share it with you. Once again, a battery consisting of a fianchettoed king's bishop and an e-pawn is ready to blast. e4, using tactics for strategic gain. If knight to d5, we play e takes d3 and e takes d3. Black's bishop on g7 has become much stronger and white has lost considerable control in the center. In this position, white cannot capture the pawn, as after c knight takes a4 we have a5 and the knight on a4 is trapped. The game continued with d4, e3, knight to f3, bishop f5, rook b3, rook a8, F take a3, rook take a3. And thanks to his bishop pair in an open position, black is better. That wraps up our deep dive into pattern 8, the bishop and pawn versus bishop discovery, a subtle but deadly tactical theme that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. If you can spot these setups during a game, you'll start to win material, and even games, out of nowhere. Understanding these patterns isn't just about memorizing positions, it's about recognizing recurring ideas and sharpening your intuition. In the next video, we'll jump into Pattern 9, the Queen Indian Discovery, where long-range power meets precise timing. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. If you enjoyed the breakdown, give it a like, share it with a fellow chess addict, and subscribe so you don't miss any future patterns. Until next time, train your mind to see the unseen, and your opponents won't stand a chance. If you've made it this far, thank you. It really means a lot. I want to kindly ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm one of the very few, maybe the only one, who's breaking down chess tactical patterns this deeply, following an academic level book step by step. Each video takes a lot of time and care to create because I don't just summarize. I share all the key variations and insights directly from the book so you get the full learning experience. If you value serious chess content and you want to grow your tactical vision the right way, subscribing helps more than you know, and it lets me keep making videos like this for you. Thanks again. Your support means everything.